All right, up and running live in the Facebook group. We got a couple more minutes, so we're gonna wait on some folks to get on. What's up, Richard? I got us up and running live on Facebook.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, Eric.
Hello.
I switched out the light bulb to see if maybe I could get better results.
Yeah, you're getting some glare from the windows behind you. Yeah,
I just shut those.
that'll help.
I didn't realize that Dan had installed one of those kind of LED white light kind of things.
It's still pretty washed out, and I don't know if that's maybe a setting on your camera or something. It's like trying to do white balancing or something.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be what it is until I figure it out.
I got the wet hair. It looks like I'm actually in the beach. All right, guys. I got a. All right, man. We're already 7. Cool. It's gonna be a good one today. I just gotta go back on Eventbrite. It looks like a few people did not receive the link, so I just gotta resend it.
Yeah, Bonnie did get it. She had asked me about that. So
yeah, I just texted her back. I was like, yeah, here it is.
Let me text Bonnie the link.
Cool. Oops.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Alicia.
Okay.
It's another round of day drinking, huh?
Yeah. The hair of the
That's
dog.
why Julian's not here. She was feeling a little wined out. You may have some later.
This is like a wine marathon.
That's right. Well, we aren't pacing ourselves very well.
Here it is. All right. And okay.
Looks like we got Bonnie. Bonnie's on.
Hi guys, how's everyone?
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
All right. And mommy. There's a glass out there too, bro, if you just want to. Okay. Gonna get this baby going on live here. And 3, 2, 1. Nice.
What's up, Randy?
Randy's in the building. Yes, sir.
Look at that. Look at that. I got hashtag old man problems trying to get all this going, you know.
Oh, that's right. Well, let me connect then with my phone so I can get all those live questions. Let's see.
Got it. You know, last year I bought a new computer and I went back to PC and I bought this beautiful computer and it's like twice the capacity of any Mac I've ever had and half the price. And my camera is right above my F2 button. So now that we're all quarantined, my computer is basically useless to me. So I'm on my wife's computer with the regular camera up top middle and trying to figure it out.
On the keyboard, so you're like this, pretty much.
What's that?
No, I was asking so the camera is on near your keyboard, where if you turn it on, you're like this.
Oh, more like this. Yeah. Yeah, it was like it's coming from your chin. Like imagine, see, like where you're number 2, number 3, or your F2, F3. So you get, yeah, it was terrible.
Terrible.
Chris Beard's in the house.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's happening?
Not much. I got both bottles ready. Are we tasting both bottles or just one?
Oh, I've got 3 open. I opened a temp a while back and decanted it, and then I just opened a second temp just to see how they're opening up.
Oh, nice. I'm about to open mine up right now, so mine will
So
be a little fresh.
If everybody could just go ahead and open 3 bottles, that would be fantastic.
I've got 2 open, so.
Yeah, I've got 2. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, man. This is cool to see everybody. The Lindleys are in the house. Hey, Kevin and Emily. Hi to Buster. So, Summer's here.
Hi.
Ray. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Oh, look at Victoria.
Yeah, look at Robbie. He's rocking the
Oh,
Papa
that's
Frenchy
really
shirt too. That's awesome.
Hey, Robbie Jones. Yes.
All right, y'all, we're starting to pick up quick. So as Randy mentioned, we'll be tasting 2 awesome wines from the CO Butaud wine collection. I would suggest we start off with the Papa Frenchy. What do you think, Randy?
That sounds fine to me. Absolutely.
Then we'll just give it another quick minute. Looks like we're still getting some people to join on, and quick sec to fill up our glasses.
Hey, Heather.
How did you?
Hey.
Ray, what's that ball? Are you in a champagne cave right now?
That's all right.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Coming
Nice.
straight from the riddling rack. Ray Wilson, everybody. Is that Stromsburg?
Just here. Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, in the cellar doing some work.
Right. Beautiful cellar.
Is this the Ray Wilson also joining us?
It is.
It is.
Awesome. So Chris was telling me all about you, and definitely we'll have to connect after this. And we can hopefully partner up and do something similar.
Yeah, no, I'd love to.
Hey, Jake, I just texted you something. Have a look.
Hey, Zanetti's are in the house. Hey, guys. Welcome. And so many people I don't know. It's nice to be connected.
I actually wanted to use a nice background of you, Randy, but I couldn't get it to focus on your face. Oh, there it is. Oh, but you're.
Hashtag hunky Jesus.
Oh, Randy, I send you a background. Don't you worry.
Yeah, Ray promised me a background too, but I never got it.
It's in your email.
Alrighty, so it looks like we'll still get some people joining in. We've definitely got some people on Facebook joining us as well. So shout out to everyone doing this happy hour virtual wine tasting with us. Randy, once again, thank you so much for coming out and on offering your time and delicious wines, of course, as well. We're excited to get this started. Richard, what do we think?
We'll just kick it off with Jake.
Let's do it.
Hey, thanks for everybody coming out to the Austin, Texas Wine Society and Wanderlust Wine Company virtual tastings. We're trying to throw these once a week. We are currently, this is our 4th one, so we're going to keep it going as long as quarantine's affecting the whole country and the state of Texas. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jake Bruce, one of the founders of the Austin, Texas Wine Society, and then I'll let a couple other guys from the Wine Society introduce themselves. And Richard, you're up.
All right, hey guys, could I get everybody else to mute their lines? That way we don't have the popping back and forth. But I'm Richard Arballo, one of the founders of Austin Texas Wine Society. A little bit of wine training about 10 years ago. Really, really love the subject. I'm kind of an information nerd, so I hope you like the presentation that's coming up. And hand it off to Josh. Josh?
What's up, everybody? Thank you for all coming in for this wine tasting. I'm Josh Bruce, one of the other Austin, Texas Wine Society founders. And if you all know, Jake Roos is my twin brother. So we kind of look alike. So, but anyways, I think today's going to be an awesome day with these multiple tastings. Excited for what we're going to experience today. So, Sammy, I'm going to let you talk.
All righty, y'all. So, Sammy, aka the Wine Cowboy, let's hit it. Looking to open Wanderlust Wine Company as soon as this is all done. I know we're all excited to get out of the house. I've been excited to host these virtual wine tastings now for a while. I've been working with these guys from the Austin Texas Wine Society to continue kind of the spirit of and the culture of wine going here, especially in our city, focusing in our city. But with these producers that they're able to ship out, it makes it even more of a statewide, even national wide opportunity. So we're excited as this continues to grow. And just to kind of give y'all a quick layout, so essentially, we'll go over some cool key facts about what we're drinking, the region, the grape, the producer, and then we'll open it up to Randy. And we'd love to learn as much as we can about, our special guest, which in this case, I'm super excited to learn more about you, Randy, and all the wines you got going on here. And then quick little plug. So Wanderlust Wine Company, we're focusing on alternative and innovative packaging. So keg wines, and I'm in talks with Randy. So if you like what you're tasting today, we'll have it on tap as well, or some of them. So with that, let's get the show on the road. Oh, we also got Chris Beard on the call. He's one of my colleagues. We did some wine education together, and he represents Randy on a more distribution side level. So excited to have you on the call, man.
Glad to be here. Thanks for the intro. Muting myself again.
All right. Getting started with the, I'll run through the presentation a little bit quick. I know some folks have already been through the Tempranillo portion of this. All right. So again, Austin is brought to you by Austin Texas Wine Society. Check us out on Facebook and the website as well. Reiteration of the founders, Jake, Josh, and they brought me in a bit later. Our high table, Sammy, Alicia, who's on the line, Sean and Michael are both sommeliers, fairly young guys as well. So, but they're on our board. Co-hosted by Wanderlust. CL Butaud, special guest Randino. That's all I could find on you, so that's what I put you in as. And the next slide is just because I really like this bottle. That is a beautiful picture. So,
Yeah, thank you.
a little bit about Tempranillo. It is, called Spain's double grape, and Spanish for early, ripens earlier than other Spanish other grapes. Tempranillo has been grown in the Iberian Peninsula since around 500 BC. They think it came over around the Barcelona area up in the northern part. Mouvedre, like Tempranillo, is introduced around 500, but a little further south, Valencia. And the variety, both so different from Tempranillo. Mouvedre can be a little more difficult to grow. It likes hot, wet weather as opposed to something a little drier, which a lot of other grapes tend to do better at because of things like molds and rot. It is actually, so I was not very familiar with Mouvedre, by itself, but it is one of the major grapes of the Rhone, along with Grenache and Syrah. It's also a blending grape in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So I've had bits of Mouvedre for a very long time, didn't know it. It arrived in California in the 1860s and is actually even blended into one of the cult wines at Saxum that received like a 100 rating, the last decade. The interesting thing about Mouvedre is that it's got a bunch of different names. So if you see, Monastrell, Damas Noir, Mataro with an accent in Portugal, Mataro without an accent in Australia and California. And I think, I mean, I didn't have time to research it, but like apparently like 95 other names. So it's a strange little grape that's known by lots of different monikers. In just geographically, so up in here is where you've got Barcelona for the Tempranillos, and obviously grown in Rioja. So introduced in Barcelona, primarily the grape of Rioja and a few other places in Spain. In Texas, it is grown. It's become the signature red wine varietal now. We've got the Hill Country AVA, a lot of fruit coming from the Texas High Plains. And Tempranillo characteristics we'll be tasting in our glasses, cherry, plum, tomato, and fig, depending on what kind of wood is being used. You'll end up with vanilla or clove from the French oak, vanilla dill from the American. Tannins are mediums in Tempranillos, acidities are medium minus, and 13 to 14.5 for Tempranillos. Mouvedres, you end up with more black fruit, blueberry, blackberry, plum, and then a lot of other sort of really nice sort of smoky pepper. The French ones will have a lot of sort of meat and game, medium to long oak aging, high tannins on the Mouvedre. Again, that's why it's, I guess, used a lot as a blending grape. Medium acidity, 12 to 15 on that. Food pairings, Tempranillos, because it comes from Spain, a lot of tapas, but it also goes along really well with a lot of things that Americans, eat, lasagnas and pizzas and barbecue. And Mouvedre, again, with meats, short ribs, poached shoulders, barbecue, lamb, rabbit, etc. So they're both very, very versatile wines. And then it's just the sources. So I will stop talking and give it back to you. And
Yeah, that's great. That's a lot of great information. It covers a lot. So we'll probably do a lot of like Q&A. If you have questions, then we'll try to sort through that. Otherwise, I'll just kind of start talking about the brand and kind of where we come from and what we're doing. And thank you all for being here. Cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
I'm gonna raise a glass and kind of
On tape.
Yeah, thank y'all for being here. This is really cool. I was 2 weeks ago. What's that? 2 weeks ago, I was watching. Oh wow, Chris Morris. Thanks for that. Look at that. Y'all know that guy? That's a picture of me from about 40 years ago. A couple weeks ago, I was on here and we were talking Spanish, Spanish Tempranillo, Rioja Tempranillo. And I immediately hit up Sammy and I was like, hey man, you want to do some CLV temp on there? Cause I'd love to get on board. And I've been following those Roos brothers. I didn't know they were different guys, but I've been following those guys on the Austin Wine Society for a while now. So, yeah, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on and doing this today.
Hey, Bonnie.
So CL Butaud is CL Butaud is my great grandfather. That was his given name. His name was Clet Louis Butaud, and everybody knew him as Frenchy. And so he was our Papa Frenchy. And so that's where the names of these two wines come from. Back in 2006, we moved to Napa. My wife and I moved to Napa to learn the business, learn winemaking, learn how to run a winery. It was a fantastic run for us, but the whole goal, the 10-year plan, was to bring that back home to Texas. There's great potential for Texas wine. I was with a distributor back in the day, and that's what I started to realize, and really just finally took the jump and the plunge into $12 an hour darkness when I was an intern for Cake Bread. They hired me full time, and I made $14 an hour. And then, and in the meantime, Brooke was the CFO for Patson Hall, which is a Pinot Noir and Chardonnay producer out there. And so that's what we did. And then, and the 10-year plan was to come home to make great Texas wine. We do so many things so well in this state, and wine, traditionally hasn't been one of them. So that was the goal. Can we do that? So let's go out and learn from the experts and learn at a high level and bring that home, and let's really get it done. And so that's what we did. We were working in the industry there. We started our California brand called Lightning Wines, which is predominantly Grenache and Grenache-based blends. It's a lot of single vineyard Grenache from all over Northern California. And then in 2014, we made our first Texas wine. It's the 2014 CL Butaud Tempranillo. We made a 15 vintage. We did not have the fruit that made the cut for the 16 vintage. And then I think most of you probably right now have in your glass the 17. So this is our third vintage of Tempranillo. And then in the meantime, we released the second label, the Papa Frenchy. It's a little more playful. It allows me some experimentation. It allows us to try different vineyards, try different varietals. That's how Mouvedre got into the mix. And then we're off and running. I mean, those are the two brands, and that's kind of the backstory on both of them.
That's awesome. So any attempt for some Syrah? I mean, you got the Grenache down, you got the Mouvedre down, you know, come full circle and do the GSM, you know, at this point. Oh, yeah, is that the bottle you had?
Well, so very important to our Lightning business. It was mostly wine club wines. It was single vineyard Grenache for weirdos like Robbie and Heather and you know, I mean, like we were making single vineyard Grenache from all these beautiful sites in Northern California. We value those wine club members, the people that support us all year, every year. And so we do produce a lot of different wines outside of the ones that we'll see in distribution. So this year, for the first time, we released a CL Butaud Cease and Desist, which was a very popular wine in Lightning Wines. It was, and for Lightning, it was more of a Chateauneuf inspired blend. It was about 85 Grenache with Syrah, Mouvedre, Cinsault, Counoise. And the Cease and Desist that we put together is half Syrah, half Tempranillo, 100% West Texas. You know, everything CL Butaud and Papa, everything I'm doing is 100% Texas. And then, yeah, so that wine was a half Syrah, half Tempranillo, and all sexy. It's so good, but it went mostly to the wine club, and it sold out. And then we had some go to a few people in the mailing list, and then it's gone. I thought I brought one out, but I didn't. But that's out there. We're going to be making more of that.
And this is awesome. You know, I'm a huge fan of Mouvedre. So when you said I got this right here as my second label, I was like, let's see it, let's do it, because I'm a big believer that this varietal will do very well in our climate here in our state. We've been on a Tempranillo train for sure. We're trying to really get people excited about Mouvedre and see if we can, you know, rev up some support for this varietal. And so you even received you had an article made about how well this pairs with barbecue, and you know, it's such an easy drinking, like you were saying, playful wine that people in Texas are not very used to. So you know, I'm excited. I'm on the Papa Frenchy, and I'll switch over to Tempranillo, but it'll be a huge contrast, I would expect, from something very accessible, easy to drink, everyday kind of wine to something for more special occasions. And yeah, just tell us, I guess, your philosophy on the whole grapes that you're growing. What's is it just personal choice? Like, has Chateauneuf been a huge inspiration for you for the most part, or have you just kind of seen what the market's demanding and then going with what's available?
No, I go with what inspires me, and the whole thing behind Lightning Wines is I drink a lot of Grenache, and so I wanted to make Grenache. I wanted to do it well, and kind of as a tip of the hat to all the wines that I drink myself at home. So many regions are already established. So if you look at, say, Burgundy, and you have Pinot and you have Chard, and you go further south and you have a little bit of Gamay, a little bit of Aligoté, or you go into Bordeaux and you have the 5 Bordeaux varietals or whatever that is. Texas doesn't have that establishment. And so what I have the opportunity to do here, which is really exciting, and going back to that inspirational sort of that instinct method, is is that I can choose what I think is going to do really, really well here in Texas. And I think Tempranillo is going to be the red wine that Texas is known for. And I love what Mouvedre is bringing. And the interesting thing to me about Mouvedre in Texas, interestingly about Texas in general, is the varietals are they act pretty differently here in this state than they do when you think of, there's a word typicity that gets thrown around. What you think of as a typical Viognier, for instance. In Texas, to me, a Viognier, Texas is a little, it's kind of like a Chardonnay. I mean, varietals just don't react the same. And Mouvedre in California was just a blender. It's a wine that I would ripen to high levels and get big and rich and meaty. And it was a blending wine because it was a little simple. It was kind of simple to stand on its own. But here in Texas, it has so much more personality. So I'm working on 2 ways to present Mouvedre. One will be a lighter stainless steel style, which is more in this Frenchy, what you're tasting now. It's more of this sort of stainless steel, kind of chillable red. And then because of this Frenchy bottling, because this was going so well for us, I put some of this production into New French Oak to see, I think I can produce this at a high quality level. And that just went fantastic. So today from the 19 vintage, I have 2 different Mouvedres, one in, big, sexy French oak barrels, aging on the lees, and then another one that's lighter in style, more everyday approachable kind of wine that you're talking about, Sammy. So yeah, Mouvedre has been a huge revelation for me over the last couple of years.
So sweet. And y'all, if y'all have any questions, feel free to jump in on the chat. I know people on the Facebook Live as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to cheers with us, of course. Say hi to Randy. Randino. So where did that come from? Randino. Is that what Papa?
Man. Yeah. No. So back in Napa, I was working with these 2 guys, one Mexican guy, one Italian guy, and I didn't have a nickname, and so this is the combination of probably a long boozy lunch and the 2 of them coming together and saying El Randino, like some Spanish and some Italian all jammed up in together, and I became El Randino. So it's kind of just what I've been ever since.
Awesome. We got a question from Mandy. What are your thoughts on Cinsault in Texas? That's a good one.
Yeah, no, Cinsault, absolutely. I work with some Cinsault, mostly from farmhouse vineyards. And I love Cinsault. I've been using it a lot, especially for rosé production. But I'm trying, so the Cinsault vines that I have access to are younger vines. And so they're not producing, Cinsault gives you remember blow pops or like cherry hard candy? A good red Cinsault gives you like this red candy kind of thing. And the vines are too young. They're not producing those flavors yet. So it's been fantastic. I've always said Grenache is the best varietal for rosé production. But I think here in Texas, again, if we consider how things do differently here, I think Cinsault is probably the varietal that makes the best rosé here. But yeah, I'm trying to make some red Cinsault. And again, Mandy, going back to that, what does well here, that's what I can choose from. I don't have to stick to Bordeaux varietals or Burgundy varietals or whatever. My palate here is anything that I think does well in Texas. And Cinsault is definitely on that list. Yeah.
I'd be curious to learn more about these. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I wanted to just get a few more details out there about the Frenchy Red 2018 that we're tasting right now. Because we're talking about Mouvedre, because I think this is the Mouvedre 100%. But you put it, you call it a red blend because you want to be able to play with it. So for this vintage, just where are you getting your Mouvedre? Like where is it grown? And is it all 100% stainless steel, or did you put some neutral oak? Like what? I guess tell us more about this bottle.
Yeah. So this Mouvedre in particular comes from Farmhouse Vineyards, and I'm also buying. So I don't farm. So I don't own vineyards, but the business model is we rely on the expert grape growers to do what they do well, and then they turn it over to me and rely on me to do what I do well in the cellar. And so we have a grower in Seminole, Texas, Rob Warren, and Rob only planted Mouvedre and Grenache, and I buy Mouvedre and Grenache from him. The upcoming Frenchy is probably Grenache dominant. That's kind of what's in the stainless right now. With this wine in your glass, I don't remember. It was all stainless. It was 100% stainless steel. But as I started, because I taste all the time, I taste every barrel every month. It's what I've always done. It's what I still do today. And so as I was watching this wine develop in stainless steel, you get a real clear picture of what that fruit is. There's no outside influence. And so I knew it became very, very clear that this fruit had a lot going on and deserved to be in some new oak. And so there's a slight oak influence on this wine just because I took that Mouvedre out of the stainless and put it into a new French oak barrel. And then that all went into the blend. So that's what's going on there. And you're right. I didn't call it Farmhouse and I didn't call it Mouvedre because I need the flexibility. This year, like I said, this blend's going to be predominantly Grenache. Next year, it might be Cinsault or whatever it is. It's going to be whatever's fun. It allows, again, that experimentation and those vineyards and those varietals. That's what the Frenchy brand is all about. I mean, the white wine, I think most of y'all on here have also buy the white wine. I mean, we aged that one in Garrison Brothers bourbon barrels. So, that's kind of far out. And that's kind of, that's nothing I've ever done. So this is a brand that allows me that level of experimentation. Yeah.
Are the Frenchy blends going to be consistent from year to year?
The Frenchy blend, no. And so like the first year on the white wine was 100% Albarino. The white wine coming out this year is a Roussanne Muscat Blanc blend. And so yeah, Frenchy, that's what Frenchy's all about. That's why the label only says red wine, white wine, rosé, and instead of, Farmhouse Mouvedre for the red wine, because that will evolve. And when I'm playing with different things, or when I find new fruit sources or new methods of production, as I continue to evolve and be a student of winemaking and come across new ideas from around the world, I've got concrete tanks in my budget, but my accountant hasn't cleared out that money yet. So that's still coming, but I have, there's things that I want to do, and it'll all go through the Mouvedre, the Papa Frenchy line. Just the same with lightning wines. Every wine, every vineyard that we accumulated, and every single wine we made, the intention for that wine was to go to single vineyard wine club offerings. And then once we figured out all those single vineyard wines, it ended up being about 8 different Grenaches annually and a Syrah. Then what was left over went into the blends. And so it's a very similar approach to what I'm doing now.
Bonnie was asking what % of it went into new French oak.
Man, percentage wise, it was like 3, 5, something like that. Yeah, just tiny. Are you tasting that, Bonnie?
We'll see what she says, but
unfortunately, no. But I did try the label that Richard put up as a picture that he loved. I wasn't able to get to Wanderlust, but I had to sit in because the first time I tasted it was your 2015 Tempranillo, and it blew me away. So
I
had to get in on this.
So as we keep talking, I want to know more about that because of your Spanish wine background. I think that's really interesting. So this is the Frenchy Red that we're on, and then this is the front label. So I need to mention the front label. This is a sketch of my Papa Frenchy, and this is done in a specific aesthetic to an artist in Manhattan named Dana Veraldi. And Dana is, she's deardana.com, D-E-E-R, Dana, deardana.com. And she is a legit badass. And this is what she does. She draws pop culture figures with this banner. So she'll do like Larry David, or she'll do Andy Warhol, or she'll do Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or she says she draws who she wants to have dinner with. And so as an art school student, she did Warhol, Basquiat, and Picasso. And so we reached out, cold called her, and she was excited to do it because she said she'd been looking for a wine label. So that's where this label comes from, just so y'all know. That's my Papa Frenchy. It's a sketch of my Papa Frenchy. And then the back has different little icons of my memories of him. And so you'll have the Humble Oil, which is where he retired from. And then his old pickup truck, the International pickup truck, his welder's mask, because in retirement, he did a lot of welding. His work boot that would always be sitting at the back door, his little coffee cup. And then of course, I'm a fat kid from way back. So that's Bluebell ice cream. He had a deep freeze, of course. And you know, the ice cream was rock solid. So I couldn't get it. So he would always scoop it out for us. But anyway, yeah, that's where that comes from, and it does have a
on the label there. That's really neat.
Thanks. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. A lot of fun putting that together.
I mean, the use of artists and stuff on labels. You know, you have some of the fine French labels used to have artists do their labels as well, and you kind of that's following in those footsteps with a cool artist from here and now.
Yeah, and I know Becker has had that. I think it's called Iconoclast. I know they've had an artist label for a long time, and Texas politics of the Texas wine industry a little touchy. So I love the Beckers and everything they do, and I didn't want any conflict with that. But this was an opportunity to work with Dear Dana, and it turned out really
totally
well.
different, and it works.
And then Robbie's wearing the shirt. So that shirt that Robbie's got, so that's what Dear Dana does. She puts those t-shirts together, and you see them like in Us Magazine and People Magazine. You see them on Robbie Jones.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you'll see them on celebrities that were on to like red carpet events and whatnot. It's pretty cool to be involved with.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy, I was just noticing that, I mean, a lot of the grapes that seem to do well, besides the Spanish grapes, seem to tend to be more the Rhone style, the Rhone group of grapes, kind of like Paso. Do you see similarities between Paso and Texas or the High Plains?
Oh man, yeah, tremendously. The first time, so we used to have a Paso vineyard site from Star Ranch, West Side Paso, and we bought Grenache, and she was the first person to buy the Chateauneuf varietals from Tablas Creek, because Tablas Creek is responsible basically for, I think, all Rhone varietals that exist in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's probably an overstatement, but I think it's close. But yeah, we used to buy our white wine from grapes from her. And the first time I went down there to check it all out, I felt like I was in the hill country. You just look around and there's rolling hills and the big oak trees, and it's nothing like Northern California where we lived. It definitely looks a lot like Paso hill country, very, very similar. Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
maybe a little drier, maybe more like climate like the High Plains, but geology of hill country.
Yeah, no doubt. Cool nights. They had this fig tree. So she had an Airstream trailer, and so I'd go out and I'd stay in this Airstream trailer out in the middle. So as the crow flies, it's about 5 miles from the ocean, and you stay in this Airstream trailer, and there was nothing but stars I mean, just you could see everyone. And then she had these fruit trees on property. There were figs. There was a fig tree within walking distance, which after my stays at Star Ranch looked like the birds hit it. It was delicious. It was a fantastic property. She grows a lot of almonds, and it was very cool. Paso is a lot like Texas, except for the produce.
Yeah, my last trip tasting up in the Fredericksburg area, going through and really being surprised by the amount of the quality growth of the wines I was having there since the last time I'd been out there, which was probably 5 or 6 years earlier. And I really came away feeling like I used to spend a lot of time in Paso, and that felt to me like Fredericksburg, the wines out there now were about where Paso was maybe 12, 14 years ago. That you're really, that the quality of the grape growing and the quality of the vinification is really starting to show.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. The cool thing about the group that's succeeding in Paso is they're students of the game. And they're not just Johnny-come-latelys and just trying to fit in. They really want to do things well, do things at a high level. So, you know, there's a lot of experimentation going on in Paso. And I think 10 years ago, maybe, you know, 5, 8 years ago still, you know, you'd see like big, heavy, nasty Paso cabs and things, and they're trying to compete with their big brother up north or right. You know, that's not working, and they get that, you know, they get that. So they're working with their varietals, and they're working with the finesse that those varietals need, whether that's a big wine or a smaller wine. Those Paso wines are becoming more finessed, and I think it's interesting to watch too. It's a good point.
That was the first place I'd had sort of California grown single varietal Mouvedres that impressed me. Although they tend to seem to, for me, feel like they had more chocolate on the palate there out in California than they do here. There's still some here, but it's not as pronounced.
Yeah, I buy that. Because I think the school out there, the mentality there is still to get it really pretty ripe.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get it pretty ripe to get it going, which is, I mean, don't tell William Chris this. What's that?
A little higher alcohol.
Yeah. And you know, don't tell William Chris, but you know, Mouvedre does really well here, and you know, I mean, so yeah, at higher alcohol levels, it's gonna do well here because it responds in this elegant way, and then at lower alcohols, you get this chillable red that's gonna be fun and funky and minerality, and those are the two styles that I'm working towards with that grape here in Texas. Yeah.
You mentioned Chateauneuf de Pape. Do you still make that sort of blend?
Not really. You know, we tapered down production of Lightning wines and to focus full time on what we're doing here in Texas. And so we were running both brands for a long time, and it just makes sense. You know, Napa Valley is where we were competing. That's where we lived, and that's where we worked. And it's very competitive. I would say that it's probably the most competitive wine region in the world. And then here we were with Grenache, you know, $40 Grenache at that, you know, Grenache that people could actually afford. And so we were just this total anomaly in Napa Valley. So what we did was we relied on our cab connections, so that everybody that came to the Valley, I mean, that's how we know so many people, even just on this chat right now, people come to the Valley and they go to their big sexy cab places and they say, well, what do we not know about yet? And then they'd say, well, you got to go check out Lightning Wines. And so the focus there was always the Chateauneuf style, that finesse, that give me minerality, give me earthy, give me texture. I don't like big, you know, smushy red, you know, blah wines that get in your mouth and they just like blah, you know, I don't drink those and I don't make those. And so, yeah, Chateauneuf has always been the thing. I'm a Gamay guy. I'm a Beaujolais guy. I wouldn't attempt to make those wines because I have too much respect for what they're doing. But the focus here is it's just different. The focus here is really pretty cool because I get to pick and choose. You know, Tempranillo, I think is it. Albarino is it. Grenache Blanc is it. And so that's what I get to go find here. I would like to do more of the Grenache, Syrah, Mouvedre, Cinsault kind of thing Mandy was talking about. I'm working on it, but it takes the grower to be on board with what I need to get that kind of fruit to accomplish those kind of wines. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hey,
So
Jay Forrest, I see you down there. Hi, Jay.
Since you're starting to talk about the Tempranillo a little bit, and I think some people have the Tempranillo, and that's like the main focus of CL Butaud. It's the big highlight wine of the lineup, I think, and it's delicious. Both the vintages I've had have been delicious. But how did your experience in California, with both the places you worked before you started your own brand, and with the Chateauneuf style wines that you made with Lightning Wines, like how did all that influence the style of Tempranillo that you create? 'Cause we've had a very different style last week with Spicewood, and we had a very different style still 2 weeks ago with Gran Reserva Rioja. So yeah, how does that influence what you're doing?
Yeah, well, okay, so man, I don't intend to keep talking about California and Lightning and all that, but something I did with Lightning, you know, in this industry, everybody on this screen knows this. We get to do our research, right? Which means like we get to eat and drink more and then sit around and compare it. Well, when I was trying to figure out single vineyard Grenache, I know that I drink Chateauneuf. I know that I drink Gigondas, Baccarat, all these wines that inspire what I'm doing, but not necessarily the California ones. So I went through roughly 80 bottles of California Grenache and Grenache-based blends to figure out what's my style gonna be. And one of my mentors, Mike Herby, who hired me at Realm, he said, make the wine you wanna make, or make the wine you wanna drink, and find the people that wanna drink that with you. And so that's what I did. I researched, I figured it out. How do I wanna make these wines? I wanna make them in a Beaujolais style. I wanna make them in a Chateauneuf style. We're always gonna have that California raw material, but I wanna make a wine of finesse. So when it came to Tempranillo, I don't prefer Spanish Rioja. I don't prefer those dusty, prickly kind of old dusty tannins. And that's just my preference. It's not right or wrong, but what I specifically did not do when I started making these Texas Tempranillos was that research. I didn't want to go research Spanish Riojas. I didn't want to go research really any other region outside of Spain, because they're the pros. I mean, they're the standard. So I thought, what is Texas Tempranillo going to give me? So again, Chris, to your earlier question, like the varietals just act differently here. So what will Texas Tempranillo give me? What is that farmer and what is that farmer's piece of land going to give me in raw material? And then give it to me, and I'm going to put my traditional European sensibility to that wine, to try to make a wine that's flavorful and finessed and textured, and a wine that can be consumed at a cocktail party, or a wine that can be consumed at a nice dinner. I like to hit a lot of different things, but I still try to do wines of finesse. And so when I came out with the Tempranillo, it was, I definitely wanted to do a big, sexy Tempranillo. So that is the goal for that wine. I want that CLB Tempranillo and the upcoming CLB Mouvedre to be just sexy, voluptuous, really just mouth-filling wines, but to have that finesse of some acidity there, some fine-grained tannin, some ageability. I'm trying to get all that into these wines. So it's taking that kind of cult cab education and then combining it with my, I don't know if you call it European sensibility, but I'm still trying to ride that line to give Texas a wine that we haven't been able to experience yet.
This one is definitely different from, I mean, like Sammy said, we've been trying Tempranillo for the last several weeks, and
Right.
this one is different, and it's lovely. I'm getting actually tropical notes in this one. It was like, yeah, did I just get an aftertaste of pineapple on that? You know, it's like, ooh, this is interesting. It's so.
Well, and Richard, you've been deeply involved in both of these last two wines. I mean, you were smitten last week with Ron, like with the Spicewood wine.
Yeah.
And so, like, how does this go? Because I have an idea about how it goes really versus Rioja, but like, where are you landing today right now? You're halfway through this. Like, what are you thinking?
It's in between. So it is a little more elegant. It's funny you were talking about sort of the dustiness of the. There you go, 100% Tempranillo. You were talking about the dustiness of a Rioja, which I can certainly remember from a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this has a little more fruit. You know, so closer to Ron, but it's got like you said, a finesse to it, and it's a little more complex. So, I mean, it's twice the price point. So, you know, it's a good thing that it is a little more interesting, and you know, being able to have this by itself and not going, man, I wish I had something to eat with it. That's great. I mean, because it drinks really well.
Hey, Randy, it feels to me like, you know, this your Tempranillo's got some pretty big structural tannins to it, a good backbone. Like, it feels like this could probably age 5 or 6 more years and be, you know, amazing drinking. Is that sort of what you're aiming for?
Yeah, absolutely. I say, it's jokingly, I selfishly, I want my wine to be everything. I want it to be presentable now. I want it to be ageable. I want it at dinner. I want it at a party. I want it to really fit all occasions, and it's basically impossible to do, but that is really how I approach my winemaking, my cellar work, my vineyard work, like all of it. I try to get a wine that I can release, I can hold until it's ready, so we can drink in a format like this, the 17 being the current release. I'm gonna hold that wine until I think I can open it. Like if I open a wine that's been released too early, I always know it. I always think, I wish this winery had held this back. And I know it's a business decision and all that, but I'm the owner and winemaker, so we get to make those decisions in-house. And then we get to have, you know, like half of this screen that's on here help us with those, you know, that research, those decisions on when to release wines. But yeah, I absolutely want my wines to be ageable. I age all of my wines in the cellar. I age all of my wines on the lees. So that method right there is already going to contribute to my ageability on the reds. It's going to turn those harsher tannins into this chocolatey, velvety sort of finish in the back. But we're also turning it into these finer grain tannins. So a friend of mine, Ed, asked me in a group setting, and I didn't quite get to answer him recently, but he said, this wine is smooth and elegant, so probably not a candidate for aging. But it's not, those aren't the same. A wine that is prickly and tannic, and you get all the tannin up here in your face, yeah, those, you have to age those for any hope of it to get better. But what I like to do is to get those tannins back to the back of your face. So they're not here, they're not right up in here. They might be in your middle part of your gums, but I want them in the back. And so when they're in the back and they're fine grain, we've worked it. So aging on the leaves does all that for me. It rounds that out. There's these proteins and these fatty acids that I have naturally occurring in my wines, in all wines, but people typically rack off of that. But I can break those bodies down, and it's like you're with your cheese or you're with your meat plate already. It's already naturally occurring in the wine and with things that exist from the process. So that's what I try to do. It's a fine grained tannin. Hopefully it's smooth and velvety, and then hopefully we can do the same tasting 20 years from now, and everybody will go, okay, wow, this wine still basically tastes the same, except it's, it's more deliciouser. It's
Right.
so
Yeah.
that's what I try to do. That's what I try to do.
So do you have a recommendation for how long to cellar?
Well, my oldest vintage right now is 5 years old. So, and we're working with a lot of younger vines. So this is an evolution, but this 17 in your glass is, I'm guessing 20 years. That's how I hope I'm building these wines. But we'll just have to see. I have older vintages I have some wines that haven't aged, as long as I thought. I have wines that still taste as fresh as the day I bottled them, from other productions. So
some of us will see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're just gonna drink through it, Rob? I love it.
So
Yeah,
Alicia, what would you think with like a picanha with chimichurri with this?
Woo, what time should I be over?
Yeah, I've got the estancia down the street. So I was like, I think that it happened last time too. The wine we had made my dinner choice, and that sounds. I still have half a bottle left, and I think I'm gonna go get some of that.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
I got actually a friend on the call, and they had a great idea. And then you couldn't have said it better, Randy. I think we're gonna include a research component to the upcoming virtual wine tasting. And then Richard, I'd love your help with this. If y'all don't know, Richard is a master chef. He should be in the upcoming seasons of Master Chef on Netflix. So next to Joe Exotic, so that's trending #1. He'll be #2. But I'm thinking for the upcoming tastings, what we can do to get people even more engaged within these virtual meetings is, we'll talk about the wine, of course, but then we'll have a plate, and Richard, we can work on some recipes, easy to do with what is available. Maybe we'll even do a Tostitos pairing, but just to get people to kind of do these pairings as a group, obviously within the comfort of our own living rooms or bedrooms. But yeah, I like this idea of researching together, and with that said, Randy, what has been the best meal that you've paired and with what wine from your collection? What was the best meal you had with your Tempranillo?
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Good question.
Man, my brain was going to like 50 meals. But with the Tempranillo, Emmer and Rye. Emmer and Rye. Yeah, Emmer and Rye has been the best experience that we've had so far. It's one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. And we had the Tempranillo, and it's that meal with the Tempranillo. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah,
it's
but
really
there was a day
because they switch around their food so much. You can't develop any favorites because you're gonna go the following month, and it's like, oh, it's not on the menu. So. Yeah,
we sat at that kitchen table. It was killer.
Yeah.
It was killer. Yeah. There was another day too. Mark Black hosted us at Terry Black's. Yeah. Mark's dad is Terry, and man, we had a meeting there. Omar was in on that meeting. We had a meeting there in Victoria. Victoria was on here earlier. But anyway, Mark hooked it up with this huge plate of barbecue with everything, with beef rib, pork rib, brisket, turkey, sausage, everything. And we brought in all these wines, and the Tempranillo and the rib, the beef rib. Oh, that was incredible. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you have out of towners and you want to get like an Austin experience going, just do Terry Black's beef rib and a little bottle of CLB Temp. Yeah, they'll be moving here. There'll be more Californians moving here to our fine state. But yeah, that was a good one.
We're already doing that.
Yeah.
So Sammy, for a variety of to see how it would cut different types of proteins, I keep thinking about that that dinner that we had at the Brazilian steakhouse. That'd be really interesting to figure out how to pair and see how it tastes with some of those different kinds of foods.
Exactly. So actually, one of the meats that we had at that Brazilian steakhouse was the picanha that I mentioned. So I mean, my brain just went right to that. So yeah, exactly. So
I just love the fact that these varietals that we're getting to try throughout these tastings, Tempranillo, Mouvedre, they all have this hints of, toast, smoke, dustiness, earthiness, spiciness, and that's like perfect for Texas food, Texas barbecue more than anything. So
yeah.
I'm excited that we're starting to grow this identity, and so like that'll even boost our wine tourism that happens, because we're the second most visited wine region, because not only now will we know people come because they know we know how to party, but because we know how to have some good food along with it, And so Randy, I mean, I love your concept, man, because, for a lot of people that see the wine industry from an exterior perspective, they're like, man, these people, they might come from money, and then that's how they're able to afford all these vineyards, or they come from, long tradition of farmers, stuff like this. But I mean, you had a dream, you had a passion, you chased it, you did you paid your dues. And so it's really nice to see you, start from the ground up and to see where you are today. And so like, Richard and I, we're trying to learn more about the man of mystery here. Randy has El Randino. It was like hard to learn more about you.
I called him and asked him, because I was typing up the presentation. I'm like, I did a little research and I'm finding Randino.
Yeah, and it's like, how I would love to kind of, if you're cool with sharing that story, it's like, how have you found success? Obviously, you've got a lot of support here on this call, and from your experiences, different vineyards and wineries. But you started a brand, Lightning Wines. You started Butaud, and I keep mispronouncing it, but you started these from the ground up, and you probably sell these more directly to on-premise, to restaurants, stuff like this, but it must have been really difficult to launch this brand and continuously push it. I mean, do you have a tasting room? I know you're out of comfort or your places, but yeah, just would love to learn more about your kind of like your rise to where you are now. To Randino start.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Is that a thing? Is that going to be trending on Twitter after this? Like,
I hope so. It'll be the next famous TikTok,
You got to go to the comfort zone for your wines.
I like it. I think if I have all three of these bottles that I've opened, I'm going to do a shirtless TikTok after this. So stay tuned. You'll like it. Oh, wow. Emily's face. You can stop that. You can. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. It takes a lot of work, but I'm a student of it. I have a friend that says that I'm a wine magician savant. And so I don't know, maybe it's the only skill that I have, but I love it. I'm a student of the game. I have a lot of respect for the tradition of winemaking. I have a lot of respect for good wines and winemaking families and wine regions. And so I hope that what I'm doing is just this is my little contribution. And then since Brooke and I are doing this, I mean, this is out of our back pocket. This is two adults with savings and credit and jobs and who said, let's take a 50% cut in household income and then move from Houston to Napa. So just cut out like another 50%. And it takes a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And we build everything that we do. We build person by person by person by person. I know the people that I didn't, so all the folks on here that I didn't know before, I know how I met them. For instance, so Robbie and Heather Jones, I know the guy that introduced us to them. I know the people that Kevin and Emily Lindley, I know how that we're connected with them. So what we do is build person by person by person. I want to go, there's this Sammy Lamb guy and he's got this Wanderlust thing and I need to go meet this guy. This guy's doing stuff. I need to see what's happening there. And so that's how we do it. I just want to run this business. I want to run this winery in a way that I want to enjoy a winery. And then, you know, we don't have a tasting room. We don't really have the capital for that yet. And we're trying to figure that out. We're trying to figure out a winery, but we're very cash lean. We don't own vineyards. We don't own a winery, but it's the same exact business model as what Brooke experienced when we moved to Napa in 2006 and she went to work at Patton Hall. That's their model. They didn't own vineyards. They had long-standing relationships, like 20 and 30-year relationships with their Sonoma growers for just the best Pinot that can be found out there. We do the same thing. I need grower partners who understand the big picture, and then we work with them, and then I do custom crush. So I make the wines at Slate Mill Collectives in Fredericksburg. That's my winery. That's my home winery. And that's the beauty of custom crush. We don't own those tanks. We don't own that building. We don't own that tasting room, but they allow me to come in and you know, accomplish every single step of my winemaking myself. Like I've always said this, I've always done this. 2 hands, every drop of wine in every one of my bottles, I put it there with these 2 hands. And I'm very proud of that. And Slate Mill lets me do that. It's a custom crush facility. Thank you, Donna. It's a custom crush facility that allows me to do that. So yeah, that's how we do it, person by person by person. And then once we can figure out a tasting room situation, it's going to allow me to make a lot more wine because we're going to have it, because Texans are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know, there's not a winery in Texas that isn't sold out. In the meantime, we'll keep making great wine for all of our wine club members and mailing list members and all of our friends, and we'll just keep doing it this way. So that's just what we do. Does that answer your question, Sammy?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, from somebody that's trying to start something as well, this is truly inspiring. And I mean, like, oh, there you go. Let's get it. Dang.
I want to say right here, Sammy, while it's just me and you talking, the first week when the Spanish Rioja was on, Sammy was getting after a bag of chips. Right? Was it Richard? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Was it that Sammy? And Sammy was quiet and he was sitting there, and then every now and then it was like crunch, crunch, crunch.
Was it me? Oh man, I forgot to mute it.
Crunch, 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 carafe. That was Sammy on that Rioja tasting. It was great.
There hasn't been a tasting up to this point that I haven't been eating something. So now I try to do it incognito, and hopefully you guys didn't notice, but can't be having a good tasting without some food. So, you know, that's why I think next week, you know, let's start working on this, y'all, so we can have some type of a shared recipe that we can all attempt. Probably won't be the same across the board. Some of us are better. I suck at cooking. Even today, I burned my bacon. I can't even make bacon, y'all. This is
we were talking. We got rosé on the list, right? Coming up.
Yeah. We got Ready Vineyards.
I was telling Jake that one of my favorite things with the rosé, you know, as you get toward closer to summertime, is a salad niçoise. It's a nice collection of greens and potatoes and black olives and a homemade vinaigrette. And it just goes so well with rosé.
Hey, Richard. Yeah. When we do that, I'll pick up your wine for you, and then when I drop it off, you could just have me like a plate. And
I can do that. I can absolutely do that.
No, but the truth, I mean, like Texans. So here's something to add to I probably got into rosés a little bit earlier than the vast majority of people, but Texans have taken to dry rosé like, you know, ducks to water. I mean, there's got to be a lot of dry rosé being drunk in Texas now because of the temperature. It makes sense, particularly the summers. Is that something you're seeing, that like there's a big demand for dry rosé really coming out of Texas?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. The interesting thing about rosé, so there is a big demand overall, but there are so many people in the category that individual winery demand is actually kind of down. And so as people keep drinking, rosé is just going up. But the cool thing is we have so many to choose from. And so you can really get
demand.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get any style you want. And so myself, I've got 3 styles of rosé in the pipeline. I've got the Frenchy rosé, which is the everyday kind of, you know, it's breakfast wine. It's strawberry, it's Texas strawberry water. It's you know, it's how to get through the workday. And then I've got the CL Butaud rosé, which is a little more ageable. I don't release that until the fall. It's got more savory components. It's got more structure to it, and it's the kind of rosé that I enjoy drinking. And then we'll be releasing a rosé soon that I'm super excited about. And as everyone knows, Italian varietals are a big deal in Texas, and I haven't made any Italian varietals yet. So this is my first foray into the category, but I've made a Pinot Grigio rosé. So a Pinot Gris in a rosé style to sort of emulate like a northern Italian Friuli region called Ramato. And so yeah, so that's coming out real quick to Wine Club on here and whatnot. That's coming.
Is that more is that a rosé, or is that more like an orange wine where, you know, you're putting skin contact with a white grape?
Right. Yeah. Mandy had the same question. It is a pre-soak process. Yeah. So I stay away from trends. I stay away from the orange wine movement or the natty or natch or natural and all that. I stay away from all that. I stick with what inspires me, and I stick with traditional wine offerings. I think if you want to say it's an orange wine, I think in my mind that has more to do with fermenting for long into the process, fermenting on those skins. What I did was more of a skin contact. It's kind of more of how I make rosé or how I make red wine. And so it's more of a skin, it's more of a maceration thing. It's more of a cold process where I have a lot of control over that. And then I get those textures and those savory components and that minerality and then the color as well. And then ferment that. So it's a red wine process until it's not. And then it's a white wine process.
Are you retarding the fermentation at that point? Are you using a little bit of sulfites to just slow the natural yeast from getting a hold of it while you're doing that maceration?
No, all we really need to do is keep away oxygen and keep the temperature low. So as long as I'm able to do that, if I have the capability of that, at the same time we keep bacteria away from the production. But yeah, it's just a matter of dry ice. I use a lot of dry ice. I use dry ice for my cold macerations on all the reds, all the whites, for my transport from all the Lubbock areas that we buy fruit from. It's dry, it's oxygen and temperature. That's how I control up to the point of fermentation. All of my fermentations are spontaneous fermentations. The Ramato in particular is just natural everything. I've always done natural wines. All of my Grenache, all Lightning, all of these Texas wines, it's all hands off, sustainably produced, low maintenance processes. Just use what I have naturally. And yeah, this wine is, it went through full ML. It's a full malolactic on this wine. And so
natural ML, or did you guys did you inoculate?
Oh no, natural. Yeah. I do inoculate ML. So that's a good question, because I like to control that ML. I like to get it over with. I like to put a strong ML character, and if I use a strain of bacteria that does not produce the diacetyl or the butter component. So if it's an easy punching bag is to say, buttery oaky Chardonnay. Well, I like to inoculate and be in control of my malolactic and not have the strain of bacteria that produces that butter. I don't want that butter. But yeah, on this
just as an FYI, I'm a whiskey distiller who's done a little bit of home winemaking, just so that I have some nerdy geeky, knowledge. So if you need more barrels, by the way, whiskey barrels, we have some.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You're on. Sold.
So will we be able to get your rosé commercially, or do we have to join the club?
Oh, it'll be available commercially. And we've, yeah. So we've got the Ramato and the Frenchy Rosé is going to hit Chris Beard at Serendipity soon. And then we went, so this of course was the year that I finally took the big plunge and backed away from a lot of bottling and put a lot of wine in keg. I've been experimenting with this. So this was the year that we put a bunch of wine in keg. And then of course, every single outlet in the world shut down. So I've got a lot of kegs. If anybody's got a kegerator at home, we can get you that. We can get you that wine. But yeah,
What's the
those
wine
wines.
rate for your kegs?
Let's talk offline.
Would you have that Pinot Grigio Rosé then in keg? That'd be that'd be crazy cool.
Yeah, I didn't do that one in keg. It's such a departure for me anyway. It's such a like an experiment. It's so it's uncomfortable for me to be in that arena. I'm trying to get a really good wine, and then I didn't want to also throw that into alternative packaging. So kind of playing it safe-ish. But yeah, we've got the Frenchy, we've got the Frenchy White coming, the Frenchy Rosé. Those are both going to be in keg and fully available.
Cool. Good to hear.
On here too is
hot soon.
Yeah, it'll be hot soon. I hope we can all get out and enjoy it. Ray's on here too, and Ray does a lot of. So Ray Wilson has Dandy Rosé, and she does still, dry, sparkling, and kegs as well. So and that's out and about, and that's also through Chris at Serendipity. So kudos to that hockey playing rock star.
Yeah, I was gonna say I tasted the Dandy Rosé, the 2019 yesterday, and it's awesome. So I'm excited to taste the Grow Project stuff she does too, and the bubbles. I haven't had those recently, so yeah, her wines are banging too.
Yeah.
Hey Randy, I got a question for you. Hey, we're gonna keep on doing these virtual tastings once we, could gather one as a community again. We want to keep it going at least once a month. But you mind? Would you be willing to come back on and we could taste one of your rosés?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be super happy to do that. Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's talk about when later.
Sometimes, like we've had a few meetings before with the society downtown, and it was a miserable experience finding parking or paying $20 for parking, and then it was like super loud, and so now we're drinking a little more wine here. Somebody, I forget it was Josh or Jake or Sammy said like we should make this a drinking game. Every time somebody drinks or every time somebody says this particular thing, everybody has to take a drink. And I'm like, I don't need any more help drinking.
Right. Well, I think, Richard, we don't have to worry about parking if we just do the rosé tasting at Ray's house.
There you go.
We just do it at Ray's house. She's got the cool artwork going, and she's got the record player, so we can just get it done.
I make a version of a salad niçoise with lobster instead of tuna.
Done.
Man.
Gotta have a crunch so that I can crunch on the call.
I like it.
But this is awesome.
Not all of us live in Austin though, so.
We'll send you the recipe.
Absolutely.
You're still invited.
No, but this is awesome, Randy. Thank you so much. We're just passing the hour mark here. So want to just say a huge thank you from the Austin Texan Wine Society, from Wanderlust Wine Company, from Serendipity. When I first had Randy show up at Wanderlust, from one wine cowboy to another, I was like, respect. He had his cowboy hat on. And so I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have some of your wines on tap. We'll continue talking about what we can get. Hopefully we'll convince you to put a little bit of that Pinot Grigio on as well. But thank you guys so much once again for another great virtual wine tasting here. We've got next week lined up with Ready Vineyard. actually, funny little story with that. So the Ready Vineyards, and I didn't know the actual producer of this wine, was one of the wines I helped judge at the Texas International Wine Competition, which Bonnie is the founder of. She's on the call. Shout out Bonnie. And our panel actually gave this wine the, well, it got a double gold because everybody was like, this is amazing. And then it won best of class. And so, you know, Randy, you were talking about Italian varietals doing so well in Texas as well. And so this is an exciting opportunity for us to kind of jump away a little bit from the Tempranillo train and then go and check that out. Although I forget what the rosé is. Maybe the rosé is Tempranillo, so if we might not get away from it just yet. But I may be wrong on that one. So we're gonna be crossing borders a little bit from Spain more to Italy now, and then trying this phenomenal wine. We'll have two different price points. We got the rosé, we've got the field blend. It's a 2015 field blend, and hopefully they'll keg that as well. We'll see. But once again, y'all, thank you so much. And then Richard, you know, we'll work on a simple recipe then to send out to our folks that sign up so that they can hopefully make it in their homes with the available groceries that exist right now. Yeah. But yeah, this was amazing, y'all. Thank you so much, Randy, once again. Ray, we'll be in touch as well. And then, yeah, I mean, these calls, you know, the formal aspect concludes after the hour, and then we just stay on the call, keep drinking. So
yeah, I wanna jump in real quick. I wore my long time hat. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
So long time, sorry Donna, but long time is in Austin. It's this Sandlot baseball facility, and I mean it's a throwback to all the romanticism that anybody's ever felt about baseball and just like community and whatnot. And so of course they can't play games right now, but they schedule monthly games. Otherwise, it runs from March to November, just like the regular MLB season. There's always bands out there and DJs, and it is, I know a lot of you have been, but maybe not everybody has, but it is an absolute scene. It is so much fun, and it is so Austin. It's so Texan. They're not playing games, but today was supposed to be one of the monthly games, April 18th. So I'm wearing my long time hat. At 4 o'clock in 45 minutes, they're doing a lone run derby where I think they've been videoing every player individually hitting home runs, and somebody's going to win. I think there's going to be refreshments probably being served during lone run derby and whatnot. But anyway, they raise money for the Health Alliance for Austin musicians. And so that's where the donations go, and we try to support them, and we try to we try to have parties out there, and we sponsor those games and that team and all that. So anyway, that's coming up at 4. So if you've got open wine and you want to go look at something else online, it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, plug-in hashtag Texas Playboy Sandlot Baseball.
Awesome.
Hey
Cool.
Randy, I know you're from Houston. Are you a Stroh's guy?
Come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, I'd rather talk about the Houston Oilers right now.
Oh, okay, man. Hey, I'm from Houston too, so you know, trying to get them Strohs back on the street, man. You know.
I know. Look at Sharona nodding her head. She's stuck in Houston, being an Astros fan. Summer's got her Astros gear going.
Hey, it's worse to be an Orioles fan, so you know.
Oh wow, yeah.
Hey
I can
man,
see
where
that.
can I get one of those hats at?
Oh, this long time?
Yeah, a long time. I like that hat.
Yeah, I bought this at the look at it. The whole thing is mesh.
I like that, man. That's pretty
Isn't that cool? So he calls this a minnow dipper. He says this is a real minnow dipper.
Yeah.
Because I guess it doesn't have the foam padding up front or whatever. But yeah, he calls it, this is a real minnow dipper. But yeah, we bought a couple. We bought one for our nephew. He didn't want it, so we got that one back, and then I wore that one for a while, but Brooke stole it from me ultimately. So then I bought this one like a month ago. So this one's brand new. I've got a new hat to ruin. But
It's a
yeah,
sweet hat, man.
yeah, they have great gear. Get them online. Go to the Long Time, and they'll tell you it's Sandlot Baseball, and they've got different hats and shirts and whatnot. But they've got a lot more gear available at the facility. There's when you go watch the games, they have Schultz Beer Garden. Our boy Daniel Northcutt, he runs owns Schultz Beer Garden. They do all the concessions with peanuts and hot dogs and beers, and they've got Carbach, and they've got Jim and Bolt, and they've got some really good sponsors. They sell all of our wines, and but yeah, it's a scene. It's a scene. You go out there, you pay your $10 donation to the Health Alliance for the musicians, and then you watch a lot. It's like 4 hours. It's gonna be 2 different games. Pick up a hat. All good.
I'll have to check it out, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna do a party out there. It was probably supposed to be today, but a month from now, whenever they can play games again, I'm gonna throw a happy hour there. I'll have a tab. Everybody can come out to the game. Travel from out of town, whoever. Sorry guys, Robbie and Donna and everybody. And
we'll be there.
We'll drive.
If we can,
there you are.
We'll be there.
Cool. Yeah, so that might be what we do next, just so we can get some hugs in and whatnot, man. We just got to get out in public again, but yeah, so that's where you can get that hat.
Can I reserve a room now at the Hester house?
Can you do what?
Can I reserve that spare room at the Hester house now?
Can I stick one of those Q-tips up your nose and make sure you're clean? Sharona.
Not just up your nose, it's practically halfway to your brain from the looks of it.
Yeah.
That's a scary test.
Yeah.
But now they're easing up, right? I think our state is kind of on the list of one of the first states to kind of easing up the restrictions on certain things. So
some things, yeah.
Man, it's interesting. It's like a dangerous step. We're excited, but also super cautious and worried. But
my sister's only child is beating leukemia, and he's beating it and like probably past it. But they're going next week. He's got another spinal tap and whatnot. But they're treating this whole lockdown like his blood count is just at 0. Basically, everything can kill you, and they're nowhere near getting back out from the doctors from Texas Children's Hospital. So I kind of take that rather than what the politicians are saying. I kind of go with the health people. So
good man.
My 2 cents.
My brother went through that and beat it, but yeah, he was. We had to be very, very careful with him, and so. But that's Austin's a little bit weird. I mean, about 60% of us can work from home, the kinds of jobs that we do, which is a little unusual. I miss people, but I can do every bit of my job from home. So
yeah,
people are.
Yeah, no, I know that's very different for you guys. Now, I miss the heck out of restaurants. I mean, I go to them a lot. I write about them, and I miss them badly.
Same.
Harry says suggestions for Italian varietals. Had a Sangio at Kuhlman.
Ooh, okay.
Do you remember what Sangio it was?
What was it? Well, the grape, it was a Sangiovese Grosso. It was the Brunello sort of subclone, if you will. That they had. I don't remember the exact year. I have some bottles back in the other room that I could go find. But I love Italian wines, but Sangiovese can be up and down. There's some great Sangiovese and there's some really crappy Sangiovese. This was the best American Sangiovese I've ever tasted. American grown Sangiovese. I was just stunned.
Got it. Yeah, Texas was Sangio was supposed to do well here, and then it kind of peaked, and it never really kind of happened. And then, Ray, I hate to keep gushing on you, but Ray put together this Sangio for the Grower Project, and man, it is a killer wine, and I've got it in the wine fridge here. Like it's part of our repertoire right there with like some Mandy Nelson Chateauneufs and some other wines. But I mean, Ray, what are your thoughts? You're working with it.
I mean, just like any variety, it depends on where you are in Texas, and it depends on the vineyard even more, of course. But I think Sangiovese has an incredible potential because what it gives you, I mean, you can build it just like traditionally, build on those tannins and build that big structure, but you can also lean into its really soft side, which is what I did with the one in the Grower Project, which it's more in the line of a Pinot Noir. It's more aromatic, soft. We're not really looking to extract tannins. But it means then you have this really elegant red wine that you can drink all year round, even in the warm seasons that we get, which I like. But yeah, I think Sangiovese holds on to its acids long. It stays, has a lot longer hang time. Again, all of that depends on where you are in the state. There's no one Texas. There's many, many regions. So I've found some beautiful Sangiovese here.
We were joking about Super Texans. And thought, hey, we just coined something, and he goes, "No, Fall Creek's already coined that."
Yeah, I think they've been using that for a while, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's clever. It's probably kept Flat Creek in business. I mean, it's so clever.
That's funny.
Thank you all so much. I'm gonna log off. But once again, Randy, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am getting really hungry again. Oh, man, this is
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
I am ordering picanha. So bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing everybody next week. Y'all have a great week. Stay safe. Be healthy. And let's continue this. So
thank you, Jake.
Later.
Bye.
Good seeing you all. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye. See y'all next time. Talk to y'all
later.
Mm.